I'm in Daniel chapter 8 right here. It's describing Daniel is describing a vision that he's seeing. In my vision, I was in Susa in the province of Elam. I was beside the river Ulai. I looked up and saw standing by the river a ram with two great horns. So he's describing a coordinate. He's giving you where he was standing on the land, and he's describing the direction of the sky that he would be looking in. So he's giving an exact time coordinate. Um, and he describes, I looked up and saw standing before the river a ram with two great horns, the larger and newer, the one larger and newer than the other. So that's Philip too of Macedon and Alexander the Great. It did what it pleased and grew powerful. As I was reflecting, a he goat, or sorry, this is referring to Darius, the Mede, who invaded into Europe, into Greece, and as I was reflecting, a he goat with a prominent horn on his forehead suddenly came up from the west across the whole earth. So that's Alexander rising up and crossing over the past the Gordian knot from Europe into the Middle East to fight off the Persian invasion. Um, without I saw so he's and then he's this is the he goat is Alexander rising up across without touching the ground. It came to the two horned ram standing by the river and rushed toward it with force. I saw it reach the ram. Enraged, the he goat attacked and shattered both its horns. The ram did not have the strength to withstand it. The he goat then threw the ram to the ground and trampled upon it. No one could rescue the ram from its power. The he goat grew very powerful, but at the height of its strength, the great horn was shattered, and in its place came four others, facing the four winds of heaven. So the ram is, of course, Aries right here. This is Aries, the ram. The coordinates are in Iran. So I'm looking up at the night sky of Iran in 339 338 BC, which is this is actually during the lifetime of Alexander the Great. Even crazier. So it's pretty interesting. But here's Aries the ram. So and then this is the eastern direction. So Aries is of course Darius the Great. Here's Aries in the east. He said he saw the ram pushing eastward. So this is in look October 339 BC. So he sees the ram pushing eastward. You're gonna watch it go across the sky. Northward, which is in this general direction, and then southward. So it's going to go upward and then come back down after it passes the southern sky. It's going to start to come back down. And then I saw a shaggy goat, and then see how Jupiter and Venus actually touch. They're going to touch each other, and then it's going to rise up. Venus is going to rise up into the sky. So that's the king planet, the combination of Jupiter and Venus. So the kingship gets passed to Alexander the Great. You might imagine this is Philip too of Macedon and Alexander the Great. Alexander then jumps off the ground, it says, and goes above the earth without touching the ground. And that's exactly what Venus is going to do. You'll see Venus, see it rising off of the ground. Watch. It's going to off of the earth without touching the ground. So it's going to keep going upward. And then it's going to hit the horns of Aries, the ram. So you'll see it's going to kiss Jupiter, and that's the two horns of the shaggy goat. Philip too of Macedon, Alexander the Great, rising up above the earth without touching the ground. He's going to keep going up. You're going to see it keep going up, pierce the horns of the ram right there. So it breaks the horns of the ram, and then the ram is going to fall to the ground. And Alexander is going to rise to his prominence when he hits the Pleiades. So this is a symbol of the Persian Empire being crushed, and the Greek Macedonian Empire rising to prominence. Watch, and now it's going to hit the seven stars of the Pleiades, right on time, right as the ram is hitting the ground. The horns of the ram are breaking and hitting the ground, and then he's going to rise up into his prominence, keep going higher, and then he's going to fall. So you'll see Venus start falling down the ecliptic as well. So this is the exact astronomical event that Daniel's describing in the night sky over a period of about 6 months, about half of a year, starting in 339 BC to 338 BC, which is the actual right around the year Alexander actually became king. So this is actually word for word what happened when Alexander rose up and what happening in the sky during the exact time period that it was happening. For anyone who believes the history to be an accurate account, how is it that the Bible predicts this in the Bible and astronomically to the exact dates as these events were happening in real time in the real world? I'd like anyone to explain that to me. It's very interesting. The Bible has absolute accuracy in everything it says when we can understand the actual astronomy behind it and the dating.